Welcome back to News Center. President Uhuru Kenyatta announced a ban on the use of single-use plastics in protected areas that takes effect in the country by 2020. The head of state made the announcement while delivering his speech in Vancouver, Canada, to commemorate the World Environment Day, and it will cover national parks, forests and beaches, and will become effective on 5th June 2020. He said Kenya is a trail-blazing nation with regards to environmental protection and conservation, noting that the main actors in this are women. This latest ban by the Jubilee administration comes 2 years after Kenya banned the use, manufacture and sale of environmentally harmful plastics, polythene bags and packaging materials. Well, let's see how this has been received by environmentalists in Mombasa. Joining us now is Dr. Eric Okuku, who is the Center Director from the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Institute. Many thanks for joining us this morning. It is a ban that has been received well, or rather well, by environmentalists across the country. How did you receive it?
Good morning. Actually, this was long overdue. And we thank the President for the initiative. What we've noticed in the last 2 years after the ban of single-use plastics, the thin ones, is that the quantities have significantly reduced in marine ecosystems. And there's a shift towards the plastic bottles that the President has banned of late. And it is a good gesture, and we hope that if fully enforced, then we'll keep these plastic bottles away from marine ecosystems.
Ban that takes effect in protected areas, beaches are among them. How is this likely to impact the fisheries and marine sector?
I'll start with the impacts of these plastic bottles and plastic in general, including the carrying bags. If I start with the carrying bags that were banned some 2 years ago, when they float in water, they look like jellyfish. Jellyfish is taken by some other fish species as food. So when they mistake them for food, of course they will ingest them. So we have fish that has a full stomach that has 0 calories. So generally, when they are ingested, then the fish will be suffering because they think it is food, but it's not food. Then coming to plastic bottles, they take so many years, very many years to degrade in marine ecosystems. And the impact of that is that they are made of chemicals, and these chemicals leach out of the bottles into marine ecosystems. And these chemicals have the potential to bioaccumulate in a fish, and they could cause harmful impacts to human beings. But again, that will interfere with our drive towards blue economy, which has identified fisheries as one of the economic sectors. Secondly, these plastic bottles, when they float around, they act as vectors for transporting other organisms. So we could be having, in the next few years, the scenario that we have in Lake Victoria, that we have invasive water hyacinth that has taken over the whole lake. So when these plastics move around, they could carry organisms from other parts of the world to our Kenyan waters where they are no natural enemies.
But this ban also comes at a time when the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, has raised a red flag over the possible return of the use of plastic bags in the country. What do you see the sustainability? How do you see the sustainability of this program set to be implemented by 2020?
This program, the ban by the President, it could be very effective because at the moment, if you look around, Kenya is slowly moving away from reusable bottles from non-reusable bottles to reusable bottles. You walk around at the bus stations, you see people carrying their own bottles for water. So I believe with a bit of enforcement, we are able to achieve the impacts that the President has intended. And again, one thing that I wanted to note is that it has been noted that some of the hotspot areas where you have plastic bottles are the recreational areas, basically the beaches and marine protected areas. And by targeting such areas, then we have what we call upstream control. Upstream control is the best method that is encouraged to avoid leakage of plastic into the environment.
All right, many thanks. That is Dr. Eric Okuku, Center Director at the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Institute, speaking to us about the president's ban on single-use plastics by 2020, with statistics from the UN Environment Department showing here that 8 million tons of plastic